Hey guys, Butch Hartman here. Welcome to Speech Bubble. I've got a very special guest, the very talented artist Dave Thomas. He's worked on all my shows. What's the favorite show you've ever worked on of mine?
SpongeBob.
Roll the theme music.
That was terrific. You got to be in there, for the ground floor and kind of see how it was done. Because Fairly Odd Parents, I came in second season.
Yep.
It was already up and running. It was already a success.
Yep.
So to see Tough Puppy get up and running was terrific. From just raw concept to having it picked up by the network to casting voice actors.
Yeah, and you were in on the casting of the fabulous Jerry Trainer.
Yeah,
because we couldn't find a guy to play Dudley.
Yeah.
And we had one actor who the network wanted, who I absolutely love in other things.
Yeah.
But he wasn't right for that part.
Sure.
And I love this guy, but and then I was actually I was so desperate I was going to do this.
I know, I remember that.
I was very close, and then I remember I had to go on vacation with my family
in Texas.
In Texas, that's exactly right.
You were building houses.
Were you following me, Dave?
You're being modest. You weren't on vacation, if I remember. You I don't know if you're building houses or you're doing charity work down there.
We were doing some charity work.
Yeah.
Yes, we were doing some charity work, but for the Butch Hartman Foundation,
right.
The Hartman House Foundation.
Yeah.
Actually, I say there's a whole separate Butch Hartman Foundation. People just give me money, but no, I'm just kidding. But we were doing some charity work, but you called me and said, "Hey, there's this guy named Jerry Trainer. He's on the iCarly show.
Yeah,
I think you should listen to it." And I was like, "The guy." I knew who you're talking about.
Right.
Like, the guy who plays the brother, that guy.
Yeah.
And you sent me the tape. It was an MP3, this fancy what is
format of the future.
What is this thing you're sending? It's like Star Wars.
What do I play it on?
What do I play it? Turner, mother. I'm ready. I always do SpongeBob on here. So anyway, I listened to him and he was really funny.
Yeah.
I said, I want to come in and hear him again. We were all there in the room. And I got back to Nickelodeon and he just killed it. And he just killed us. And we're like, that's the guy.
Yeah.
And what great thing about Jerry, and I tell people on this podcast all the time, is like, when you have an amazing actor, you can really write for that actor.
Oh, yeah.
It just becomes so much funnier.
He is so funny. He makes things that aren't funny.
Oh, God.
And I know that because I believe Ray DeLaurentis deferred to me on writing. I wanted to be a writer, a proper writer. And I think he's like, Dave, you can write the sides for the voice auditions or something like that. So I write them and they're terrible. I mean, they're terrible. and all these great voice actors are coming and reading them and my lines are terrible. So they all seem like terrible voice actors. And I'm just like flopping and like Ray's giving me the side eye, like, why did I trust this idiot with this job? Right. And then we finally get Jerry in there.
My question is, why didn't Ray do the job himself?
I think I begged him.
That's my only question.
There might have been some crying involved and begging. And so then Jerry comes in and all of a sudden I'm the greatest writer in the world. And I'm like, oh, yes.
Could it be the chameleon?
Super genius.
Oh my God.
Yeah. But he's incredible. He made everything funny.
Jerry made everything funny. Your boards made everything funny too, because you would board that show so funny. In fact, one of my there's so many episodes you did that were great. There was one scene we did where Dudley, a kitty goes, "Dudley, I've got a surprise for you," and you're like, "Is it candy?" And you just drew him. "Is it candy?" "No, it's not candy, you idiot." Well, you did the Christmas episode, which was just so funny. The Tough Puppy Christmas special, and if you haven't seen it out there, people, if anyone out there hasn't seen it, it is one of the funniest shows I've ever seen.
It was a lot of fun.
Oh gosh, and in fact, I just recently began working with another company on the side, and the guy who called me. I never get this. The guy called me. He goes, "I love your work." I'm like, "Oh, thank you." He goes, "Tough Puppy was one of my favorite shows." And I said,
"That's cool."
I said, "Did you say Tough Puppy?"
Right.
Usually they say Fairly Odd Parents. He goes, "The writing on Tough Puppy was so great." And he goes, "The way you played those characters, it was so that show gets a lot of. It's an underappreciated show, but I think it'll be more appreciated in the future. It's really funny.
That's the great thing about the internet. It's all out there. It's all available.
I agree.
But it's we had really great writers. Ray DeLaurentis, Will Schifrin.
Oh yeah,
incredible.
Oh yeah,
terrific cast.
And you definitely helped out a lot. I was in there as well.
Yeah, the writers' room was
Kevin
a lot of
Sullivan
fun.
was in there.
Kevin Sullivan. He's now on Loud House.
Loud House, yeah.
He's a really great guy. So and then our even the writing assistants are now very successful writers.
There was Christine and Joanna, who was my former assistant. Now she's a writer as well.
I think they're a writing team, actually.
I think they were writing. They're like a superhero team. They fight crime and they write cartoons for kids.
That's right. They moonlight
exactly. But they were great. And then so Tough Puppy went for like 3 seasons, and I think you left in 2012. I remember when you called me to leave because you were going on to something bigger and brighter. I was doing the second Fairly Odd Parents live action movie.
Right.
I was up in Vancouver. And I was on the set of our Christmas movie, and you gave me a call and said you were leaving. I was bummed because you were leaving. Yeah.
That was a very hard call to make.
I know. I'm sure it was. I'm glad to hear you say that because I hope you were tormented just a little bit anyway.
Well, of course. I mean, I've been with you for 10 years. I mean, it's literally true. I bought a house working for you. Like nobody. See, I didn't go to CalArts, so I didn't have the network of friends to kind of support me and give me jobs. There was nobody I could call. So it wasn't lost on me that you took a chance on me and
you're so great.
brought
But see,
me in.
you say I bought you the house, but you earned that house, Dave, because you were so talented and good.
I always appreciated the opportunity, so it wasn't I didn't take it lightly.
Well, I appreciate that. I remember I was working on the Shiny Teeth song.
Oh man, that was a good one.
On a Saturday. And you came up, and that's the first time I met your wife. You introduced me to your wife. I was working on a Saturday at Nick, and I'm working on the and I was trying to, because the song starts off as dee 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 dee, and I'm like, how do I start this freaking song? And I'm sitting there working, and you brought your wife up, and you're like, and I met your wife. I always associate that with working on the Shiny Teeth song, because right when I was coming up,
because you were just about to solve that problem,
like,
and we interrupted
like, hey, Butch, it's me.
oh, Jesus.
No,
thought I could get some peace on a Saturday.
No, but it was funny because you were there on a Saturday as well. Like you were there because I was like, oh, Dave works hard. He's here on a Saturday. Maybe just you're touring around, but you're like, the work meant a lot to you.
Yeah.
And I can tell. You can always tell the people that it means a lot to who are there all the time. And I tell people too, if you're going to be in animation or be a writer or anything, it's not just your hobby; it's what you do, and you need to love it. And I mean, you're like me; like you really don't feel you've ever worked a day in your life because you love what you do so much.
I totally agree, and it's an all-consuming passion. It's something that you hear people complaining about their jobs, and I just don't understand it.
I can't relate. I know exactly.
I look forward to Monday morning. I
love
going to work.
Yep.
It's the best thing, and I learned like my philosophy on art was from commercial illustrators, guys like I don't know if you ever heard of the famous artist school.
No, I have not.
Okay.
Now, are the artists famous or is the school famous? That's what I'm trying to.
It is a school,
famous artist school.
It was all the famous illustrators in the 1930s got together and made this school. Norman Rockwell started it.
Oh, got it.
So, and Norman Rockwell, he gave
I've heard of.
He's great. You should read these books. They're very practical. Just sort of like, here's how you hold your pencil. Here's how you draw. Here's how you approach your job. And one of the things he said was that do good work first and get used to doing good work, and then quick work will follow.
Oh, absolutely.
First learn how to be good, then learn how to be fast. And so, I mean, I worked those hours because it wasn't good enough for me. Like, I don't care. Like, I want this board to be as great as it can be. Yep. And,
it definitely shows.
Some people complain like, oh, I worked 80 hours and I only got paid for 40. It's like, well, they pay me for 40 and I donate 40.
Exactly.
I want the work to be great.
Perfectly said. And you know what else too I loved about you? Not only could you draw great boards, and you kind of inhabited the board, you kind of became the storyboard. Right. You could pitch the boards too. Remember, I would let no one else pitch those boards but me, because I would act out all the voices. Hey, I do all the voices and stuff. Yeah. But no one else could do that. I learned the hard way. You'd have a room full of 50 people waiting to hear a storyboard pitch, and then you'd give someone a chance, and they would just bomb miserably. Yeah. I didn't do it anymore, but you were the only other one I would let pitch boards.
Well,
because you could do it good.
Well, thank you. I remember you were so good at it, you would pitch them all. And I remember asking you, Mr. Hartman, how do you pitch a storyboard? And the real context was you had just gone down to Walmart and given a big presentation.
Yes.
At Walmart.
About the toys. We're going to do Family Parents toys. Yep.
Yeah. And I'm like, how do you get up in front of a room of people and just, because I'm very comfortable with you, but I'm actually a pretty introverted guy.
You're sitting very close to me, by the way.
Yeah,
back off.
Yes.
Those of you at home can't see, he's really close to me.
But at the time, I was extremely introverted, and so like the fact that you could do that thing really impressed me. And you said, "Well, if I know I've got great material, I don't have anything to worry about."
Right.
And so because we're getting these great scripts from great writers, and like I already knew it was funny. We had the voice records. The voice records were funny. I knew I had good material getting up in front of people. And in those days, the storyboards were pinned to the wall.
I know.
Right.
So
I didn't have to look anybody in the eye.
This is the early 2000s.
Yeah. Yes. Everybody's at these tables behind me, and I'm just looking at my drawings. Yeah. And so it's sort of like, they're your drawings. You've spent, the last 6 weeks working on them.
Yes.
So, I mean, no, really, you feel comfortable like your friends. It's a dumb thing to say, but you're comfortable with them. So it's just you and me. You're the only person I can really see, and pointing at the drawings.
Yeah, because I would stand next to you as we walked along.
Yeah.
You pitched the board. Everybody else, we got to a point later on where we would project the boards on a big screen, which is also your idea.
It's a much better way to do it.
You were like, hey, Butch, why don't you start projecting the boards? I'm like, Dave, that's crazy talk. This thing will never fly. A flying machine? What is this, Dave? But a horseless carriage? Come on. Yeah.
But from doing it, you kind of build confidence slowly, and then there's a great Adventure Time quote. Like the first step to being good at something is being terrible at something, and so it's like I was kind of bad, and then I got a little better and a little better.
Yeah. We definitely. It was funny because we would always remark like Dave would come in, he'd be this really quiet guy,
right?
And then be like, "Hey, Dave, start pitching," and you'd come alive,
right,
for the 7 or 8 minutes or 20 minutes to pitch that board. Then be like, everyone's applauding, like,
and I'd run out of the room
and
crying.
Like the robot had Lost in Space, you'd go like, and the arms would hang down. Yeah. It was really funny. But you did great. But I would only let you pitch the boards besides me because I didn't trust anybody else. I just because because your life hangs in the balance. You want to get the right proper reaction for this show that everyone's worked so hard on.
Yeah, well, it's the best. You get up in front of the room and then make people laugh. I mean, that's a terrific feeling.
It's a great feeling.
And you get to take credit for all the writers' great jokes and stuff.
See, what's great about the podcast, I can't hear people are laughing or not. I'm just assuming they're laughing. I think maybe some people might find
laugh track.
I probably should. So Tough Puppy was great.
Yeah.
Real quick, favorite character on Tough Puppy?
Well, it's Dudley. I mean, it's easy, hands down, Dudley. Well, I mean, that's not. I mean, Dudley's great.
I like Dudley in Snaptrap.
Yeah. Yeah.
Hey, it's your puppy. When I'm mayor, I'm totally banishing you.
So my son, that was the first show I worked on that he watched and he loved Snaptrap as well, and he would make me read bedtime stories to him as Snaptrap. I do not like green eggs and ham.
I like green eggs and ham, Larry. Hey, did you favorite character on Fairly OddParents?
Oh God, that's hard. Crocker was the most fun to draw.
Crocker's great.
He was great, and then Dad. I mean.
Oh, Timmy, I'm lost in the hall again.
I powdered my nose in my pants again.
Oh, my God, that was great. Remember the one where Operation Dinkleberg? Brandon Cruz boarded that one. But it's like Dad had his pants down.
Yeah.
And then he goes, Timmy, do you know what's going on? You're going to pull up your pants? There's no time.
No time.
No time to pull up my pants.
That was the best. You know, it's funny because Fairly OddParents, like that show, it's great. Like I'm on Reddit and Imager and stuff like that a lot. Yeah. And those memes show up. I don't always send them to you because I feel kind of lame, but like, only the really funny ones, but I'll see them as like, there it is again. There it is again. Yeah. You know, there's another one.
And by the way, that is your drawing. The Dinkleberg meme is your drawing because it was from, what one was it? Was it Miss Dimsdale?
I think it might have, or was it the one where
not
it might have been just Miss Dimsdale?
Not the charades one. I think it's from the Miss Dimsdale one.
It might be.
Because one of my other favorite ones you ever did was the ones I gave you the one the one where there was no sound.
Yes.
Called Pipe Down.
Pipe Down, that was
great. And then Pipe Down where there's no sound, and then there's no light with lights out.
Yeah.
And you just killed both of those.
Those were so much fun. Lights. That was kind of like I think the Lights Out one came from another like moment of arrogance. Where I think I said something off the cuff and mean to Kevin Sullivan about, let's see if the writing can carry these things.
Right.
And he's like, well, let's see.
By the way, here's Kevin Sullivan. Come on in, Kevin.
He's the greatest.
Kevin's here.
To his credit, he's like, all right, let's see if we can. And he wrote that script. It's like, oh my God, this is really good.
Yeah, it was really funny.
It was just eyeballs. Eyeballs
yep.
for
and then the lights would come on for 2 seconds and be horrible.
Yeah.
Well, one of my favorite lines for Crocker on that one was like, I picked the wrong day to wear pork chop underwear.